Good afternoon, dear TEDx friends. What an honor for me to be here in my own university where it all started. For me, it was 15 years ago that I studied here, and I would like to thank the organization for this wonderful event and for having me. And so nice to see so many familiar faces here. And my presentation will go about my entrepreneurial story, my customer journey, what I did. And it was hard. And I want to start with a disclaimer, because people listening to my talk will think it's like this. This is entrepreneurship. I don't know, maybe a question for you. Who is entrepreneur here? Who is creating things in his life, trying to sell them to people? Well, some of them. You, as my colleagues, you will recognize this, right? This is how entrepreneurship is. So don't think that this is only about success. But there's also good news. You can change the world today. All of you, not only the entrepreneurs. Everybody here in the room. And the reason is, this is 15 years ago. The entrepreneur has to build factories, has to build products, has to distribute them all over the world, which was very, very hard. And today, this is the entrepreneur. You just have a laptop, you have internet. Wherever in the world, you can change whole industries. You can be disruptive. Let's take some examples. This is Uber, the biggest taxi company in the world. They don't have their own cabs. Facebook, the biggest content platform, they don't have their own content. Skype is the biggest telecom provider in the world, and they don't have their own infrastructure. That's remarkable, right? And if there is one thing I learned in Silicon Valley, it's this one. You have to dream big. You have to think big. That's the only way to succeed. And let me share with you my personal story. As I said, I studied here at the university, just a master in computer science, did some business economics. And then we built this product, which was called Visiori. Visiori for opticians. And we were so lucky to sold it to one of the biggest chains at that moment in Europe, which was Pearl. So we had some money in the bank, and some ideas, some technology on the shelf. And then this happened. This is my mother, my sister, and my grandmother. And to be clear, this is my grandmother. And she passed away. And I experienced the whole journey that my parents had with dementia, with caring for her, with driving her to the hospital, with organizing everything. Don't want to go to the rest home, then going back home, and so on. And when she passed away on the funeral, or after the funeral, my parents, they told me, we will do everything in the world to avoid that for ourselves. And then I start thinking, we have to change things in this world, because this is not the type of buildings that people want to go to when they age. This is horrible. People just want to stay at home as long as possible, in their own environment, with their friends, with their neighbors, with their children nearby, and so on. People want to be empowered. People want to be part of their healthcare, and not just things that are organized above our head. There is a totally different generation coming up. And that's what it is all about. This is the first time in history that there is an aging demographic change. And this is what we call the silver tsunami. Because it's not because that we all want to age in place and to live at home as long as possible. It's also because the government is under pressure. The social system is under pressure. Things are changing because the people have to work and have to pay for the older adults, for the seniors, is the same, but the seniors are growing. And that's a huge problem. And we cannot handle that anymore as a society. The caregivers, the same problem. We don't have enough caregivers anymore. This is a movie, what we all experience, or will experience when we don't change anything, because this could be our future.
Don't you know what you and I will feel? Don't you know it comes to you, dear children? Don't you know that love we need it all? Do you mind the future?
See you next week. So this is bad, right? We don't want that. Topic of today, challenge accepted. And every challenge has an opportunity. And as an entrepreneur, you have to see that opportunity. The aging space and the aging population in the world is the third biggest economy, spending huge tons of money on travel, on leisure, on care, and so on. The market size is huge. And not only that, I met this guy, and this is a doctor. This is a general practitioner, and this guy was so kind to invest in our company because he saw the future of the healthcare, meaning that we all have to take care more of ourselves. And healthcare is shifting to self-care. It's what we experienced in the banking world, where the banks gave us the tools to do our own bank affairs, but in the end, they could lower their cost. So that was a smart move, and that's what we have to do in care as well. And the only way of doing that is using technology. And technology will be disruptive for this market as well. And it's explosively growing. This is the use of tablets among seniors. Last year at Christmas time, the tablet was the most bought Christmas present all over the world for seniors. So it's growing. But when you look at technology and when you look at this population, there is a problem. Because you have a lot of stakeholders. And they all want to push their own technology. Apps, you have websites, you have your own personal information that you have to store in all these silos. You have different authentication that you need. You have the whole Internet of Things that's coming up. Sensors that are connected with the Internet. And this is a really big mess. And you can compare this with remote controls, putting on the table and asking the older adult to use them. And then we get this. Is this a solution? Is this what we all want? No, not at all. And then Cubigo came. This is what we built. This is a software that we make. And we try to integrate all these silos to make it super convenient for the senior to use all these technologies. What we do, we connect all the different services on the cloud platform, and we offer them on every device that they want. And that's not only useful for the senior, but also for the children, because they can have one dashboard where they remotely can take care of their parents. Even connecting the caregiver into this ecosystem, letting them communicate with family and with the user themselves. And let me give some examples. This is my weight, because this is a weight scale in my bathroom. It was 2 years ago, so today it's going up. I don't share. This is ordering meals or groceries. This is medication reminders that you get. Care notebook, where you can write things about someone in a digital way. Video communication with the doctor or the nurse. And it's not only about the user interface. It's also about integration, because if you integrate things, you can do smart things with them, because we can add algorithms to that. Give you some examples. This is an activity monitor. You put these buttons on the door of the bathroom, for example, and you can see when someone going to the toilet at night. Combine that with weight, and you can say, hey, things are going up for a month. We can say maybe there is something going on about diabetes, for example. Or maybe a little bit simpler, you order your meals on the platform. We know from your medical record that you're a diabetes patient. Well, we offer you meals without sugar. And this one, we know when the groceries are delivered. We know when the nurse is coming to your home. And we can say to your children, when you go visit your mom, do it on Thursday because no one is there. And you have social control, your social connectivity all over the week with someone. And this is our mission. We want to become the curated app store for healthy aging services. And we did that in Belgium. We did some nice projects. This is service flats, assisted living. We organized Cubigo bars, Cubigo cafes with cake and coffee and connectivity among seniors. Also a very social purpose. And we went to the Netherlands. Same culture, same language. A little bit more focus on community care and how that neighbors can help each other. And then we saw that the market was too small here. And we took a flight to America, to the USA, to Silicon Valley. And you know probably all where Silicon Valley is on the west coast of the US. You see it here. And Silicon Valley is so unique because every IT company in the world that is a little bit serious is there, has a headquarters or an office in Silicon Valley. And not only because Silicon Valley, we also went to the US because of the size of the market. It's huge. 300 million Americans speaking the same language, the same culture. And that's different than Europe, where you have to hop from country to country. And we stepped off the plane, and we went to a trade fair, and we saw this. This was 2013. And I said to my colleague, the doctor who was with me, said, hey, we built 2 years before, we built this already. Maybe we are not so bad as a niche player, even a Belgian niche player in this market. Let's do something with that. And we opened up an office in Silicon Valley in San Francisco. We did some projects. This was the first one with low-income seniors in the city center of San Francisco. This one was a Jewish senior living group, also a nice assisted living project in Palo Alto. And then this happened, almost, well, a little bit over 1 year already ago. We were selected by Blackbox for, well, an exclusive bootcamp. It was powered by Google, and there were 15 companies all over the world selected for that bootcamp. So it was not only interesting to see all the other cultures and entrepreneurs, but also had some very intensive courses and Google mentoring and so on to sharpen your idea, to sharpen your pitch. And that was very useful. And as a startup, it's a little bit strange to have in 3 months' time 50 appearances in newspapers, because normally you can't pay that. And from one moment from another, it's, well, you're a little bit famous. Well, not famous, but you come in the bakery store and people say, hey, that's the guy from Google. And that was a little bit strange to experience that. And try to keeping your feet on the ground is very important. This was the number of users that day of our platform. And maybe, I don't know if you know this guy, this is a Flemish minister-president, and he has the same first name than I have. He's called Geert. And on the national television, the news, they even gave him my name, and that's cool. And we found our first big customer in the US in June last year, 65,000 patients in Columbus, Ohio, of all places. You see the buildings there. And I want to share with you some learnings from that journey, because everybody's always talking about Silicon Valley, but what can we learn from that? And I don't believe in only worshipping Silicon Valley. That's not the point. We have to find our own startup DNA, as Europe, as Belgium, as Flanders, as Limburg even. And the most important thing I learned in that journey is this one. You have to think big. Only then you can change the world. And there is a nice metaphor. When you start a company, you have to write a book. Because if you write a book, you always have to start with the last chapter. And then you count back. And then you write the first page and the second one and so on. So have that goal. And if the plan doesn't work, don't change the plan. Just change the plan, but never the goal. And when you work with people, try to make that goal visual, because you can head with a team to something. And that's so important. Second, learning, and that's where we, I believe, in Belgium are very bad in. We don't embrace failure. Or you are successful or you are a failure. No, it's not that like that. Every failure is a learning moment, and you have to take that with you. And next time, you don't make that same mistake again. And that's very hard. And what I experienced here, and I come back to this picture, we are somewhere in the middle there. And on that road to success, everybody loves you here in Belgium. You can do conferences like this. It's very nice. You can speak on every event that you want. That's no problem. But once you have success, people hate you. They say, he was lucky. He was doing sneaky things or things like that. And that's very hard for motivating your entrepreneurs stepping into that. Because if you look at the United States, on the road to success, nobody cares. Everybody's struggling. Everybody's trying to be successful. But once you have success, my friends, you are a rock star. Look at Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg. They're rock stars. And that's a totally different mindset than we have here in Belgium. Third one, it's all about networking. It's all about what we do today here, knowing people. And the network is so important because you can rely on that for finding customers, finding colleagues, finding investors, and so on. And you can launch your product overnight, but you can't build a network overnight. And it's not about B2B or B2C, it's all about H to H, human to human. And fourth, it's always good as a weather in San Francisco and Silicon Valley. And that's important too, because people are always happy. I want to finalize my talk, and I want to ask you the question, what is your last chapter in your life? Where are you wanting to head for? Try to note it down. Try to make it visual for yourself. You have a point where you can aim at. And you have only 2 scenarios. And also for all the students here, you have only 2 scenarios in your life. Or you build your own dreams, or someone else will hire you to build theirs. And I was on the flight back from San Francisco to Brussels No, it was Amsterdam with KLM. And this was the napkin on the plane. And I think it's quite interesting to think about it. Thanks for your attention. Have a nice day.